Welcome to Barbecue Stories. Thank you for liking this video and subscribing to Barbecue Stories. Ethan Miller sat alone in his dimly lit office late on a Friday evening, the steady hum of fluorescent lights above casting a sterile glow. The atmosphere reflected his growing unease as he shuffled through profiles of candidates for a new management role at his eco-conscious chemical company. Despite his best efforts to focus, an unsettling weight of doubt pressed heavily against his chest, a gnawing feeling he couldn't shake. As the regional director, Ethan had spent years building both a successful career and what he believed was a stable family life. His marriage to Vanessa, spanning 2 tumultuous decades, had endured financial hardships and the challenges of raising their 2 spirited daughters, Cassie and Ella. Vanessa, an executive assistant to the county's district attorney, exuded confidence and commanded respect in every aspect of her life. Her 5 feet 7 inches frame, complemented by striking auburn hair and a piercing gaze, symbolized her strong presence. While Ethan admired her relentless ambition, he couldn't ignore how distant she had become. Her once lively laughter had given way to a heavy silence that ate away at him. For years, Thursday nights had been Vanessa's designated time to go out with friends. Ethan had never questioned it, until recently, when her demeanor shifted so starkly that it was impossible to dismiss. One particularly vivid memory haunted him, a rainy drive home from their anniversary trip when Vanessa had hesitantly raised the idea of an open marriage. The suggestion left Ethan reeling, a cocktail of confusion and fear gripping him. He dismissed it at the time, attributing it to her stress or boredom, but deep down, he suspected a deeper struggle brewing beneath her composed exterior. Back at work the following week, Ethan's intuition sharpened. Over lunch with his assistant and confidant, Jennifer, he cautiously voiced his suspicions. Jennifer, ever empathetic and insightful, encouraged him to approach the matter discreetly. She suggested he dig deeper into Vanessa's Thursday outings. For the first time, Ethan felt as though he had an ally in uncovering the unsettling mystery that consumed him. What Ethan didn't know was that Vanessa's Thursday nights weren't spent with friends. Instead, she was secretly meeting Derek Harper, a charismatic attorney infamous for his charm and womanizing ways. Derek, her superior at the DA's office, had swept Vanessa off her feet years ago. What began as innocent after-hours drinks had quickly escalated into a passionate, clandestine affair. Derek offered Vanessa an intoxicating escape from her structured life, a thrilling, forbidden connection that intensified with each secret meeting. As the weeks passed, Ethan's suspicions deepened into an unshakable obsession. Vanessa grew evasive whenever he questioned her outings, her answers laced with defensiveness. Ethan's intuition urged him to take action, leading him to hire a private investigator. Within a week, the investigator delivered a file that would upend Ethan's world. Inside were photos capturing Vanessa and Derek sharing intimate moments, smiling, laughing, and completely absorbed in one another. The betrayal hit Ethan like a sledgehammer. A whirlwind of anger and heartbreak consumed him, but he resolved not to confront Vanessa immediately. Instead, he chose a calculated approach, determined to expose the depth of her deceit on his terms. Sharing his discovery with Jennifer, who had endured her own history of betrayal, he found a willing partner in orchestrating a strategy to reveal Vanessa and Derek's secrets. Together, they mapped out steps to dismantle the smug power the two had wielded over him. Ethan began planting subtle seeds of doubt in their minds. He strategically ensured whispers of their affair reached influential members of the community. One afternoon, he staged a chance encounter at a trendy restaurant, where he accidentally ran into Vanessa and Derek mid-lunch. Feigning ignorance of Derek's identity, Ethan kept his interaction short but loaded with unspoken tension, savoring the unease that flickered across their faces. That evening, during the drive home, Vanessa struggled to maintain her composure. Sensing her growing anxiety, Ethan subtly hinted that he knew more than she realized. Yet he refrained from outright confrontation, opting to let her unravel on her own. Quietly, Ethan turned his attention to the results of an ancestral DNA kit they had ordered for their daughters months prior. His suspicions had grown unbearable, that one of his children might not be biologically his. 2 weeks later, the results confirmed his fears. Ella, their youngest daughter, shared a paternal link with Derek. Devastated but resolute, Ethan decided his children deserved the truth. In an age-appropriate manner, he carefully explained the situation to them, ensuring they understood the gravity of their mother's actions. With everything in place, Ethan arranged a family meeting. Gathered in the living room, he presented the evidence to Vanessa, the damning photos and DNA results leaving no room for denial. The air crackled with tension as Vanessa initially tried to refute the evidence, her voice trembling as reality closed in on her. Eventually, faced with undeniable proof, she broke down in tears, pleading for forgiveness. But Ethan, his expression icy and unyielding, had already made up his mind. In the aftermath, Vanessa's world crumbled. Derek distanced himself, unwilling to face the fallout of their scandal. Alone and desperate to reclaim her standing, Vanessa filed for divorce, seeking a substantial share of Ethan's assets. However, Ethan had anticipated her move. With Jennifer's help, he had meticulously safeguarded his finances, ensuring her legal claims held little weight. As the scandal unfolded, whispers turned into headlines. Local newspapers ran exposés on Derek's alleged misconduct, tarnishing his career. Meanwhile, Ethan moved forward with quiet determination, focusing on his company and his children. Vanessa, stripped of her reputation and facing the consequences of her choices, was left to grapple with her shattered life. Ethan's story resonated deeply within the community, drawing unexpected support from friends, colleagues, and even strangers. His composed resilience in the aftermath of betrayal became a source of inspiration, and as his narrative of integrity unfolded, his company thrived. Months after finalizing the divorce, Ethan experienced a profound sense of peace. With his children's unwavering love and support, he continued his work with a renewed sense of purpose, grateful for the stability they brought into his life. Vanessa, on the other hand, saw her life spiral out of control. The fallout from her affair and subsequent divorce severely damaged her reputation, leading to her dismissal from the DA's office due to her association with Derek. As the reality of her choices set in, loneliness and regret consumed her, and she struggled to rebuild the life she once took for granted. Ethan focused on fostering a positive environment for his family. Cassie, now a university student with aspirations of pursuing a career in law, drew strength from her father's unwavering integrity. Inspired by Ethan's example, she approached the family crisis with grace, determined to rise above the turmoil. At work, Ethan redirected the energy he once devoted to his marriage into nurturing new relationships and growing his company's influence. He began hosting leadership seminars for young professionals, sharing the invaluable lessons he'd learned from both business and personal challenges. These experiences transformed him, with every hurdle only fortifying his resolve. Jennifer, who had played a pivotal role in Ethan's journey through the divorce, encouraged him to explore new opportunities for connection. Their occasional meetings over dinner or coffee evolved into candid discussions about work projects and shared experiences navigating difficult relationships. Although their bond remained platonic, a deeper connection began to form, and for the first time in years, Ethan allowed himself to envision a future with someone who truly understood him. In stark contrast, Vanessa found herself estranged from her former social circles. The scandal surrounding her affair left her reputation in tatters, and when Derek fled the area to escape the scrutiny, she was left to bear the consequences alone. Unable to retain her position at the DA's office, she took a job at a small law firm outside her area of expertise, struggling to find stability in a world that had turned its back on her. One evening, as Vanessa glanced through the local newspaper, she stumbled upon a familiar name. Ethan's company had been awarded for its environmental impact, with his success widely celebrated. Seeing him thrive only intensified her bitterness and jealousy. The stark reality that she had lost not only her marriage but also her social standing reignited a desire to regain some control. Meanwhile, Cassie began interning at a nearby law firm. While sorting through old files, she uncovered documents linked to her mother's workplace investigation, which revealed shocking details of Vanessa's misconduct. Evidence of shady financial dealings and questionable behavior during work hours highlighted her complicity in furthering Derek's interests. Torn between protecting her father and exposing her mother's actions, Cassie ultimately decided to hold on to the documents, resolving to act only if Vanessa crossed another line. Desperate to reclaim her former life, Vanessa began appearing unannounced at her children's events, weaving stories of regret and seeking forgiveness. Ella, the youngest and most impressionable, often found herself drawn in by Vanessa's emotional manipulation. However, Cassie's unwavering loyalty to her father shielded him and Ella from Vanessa's attempts to get too close. One evening, driven by desperation, Vanessa showed up at Ethan's doorstep, pleading for a chance to talk. Meeting her at the door with a calm yet unreadable expression, Ethan listened as she poured out apologies and promises to change. When she suggested rekindling their relationship for the sake of their children, his patience wore thin. "Vanessa," he said, his voice steady but resolute, "there's nothing left to discuss. The choices you made have consequences, and I won't compromise my integrity or my children's trust to give you another chance." Vanessa stormed away, anger hardening into a grim determination. If she couldn't reclaim her old life, she vowed to make Ethan pay for moving on without her. Using the last of her resources, she filed a lawsuit against him, seeking a larger share of his assets and custody of Ella, believing it would give her leverage. Hiring a ruthless lawyer known for underhanded tactics, she hoped to destabilize Ethan and force concessions. But Ethan, with Jennifer's steadfast support and meticulous documentation of events, presented an impenetrable defense. During the court proceedings, Cassie revealed the documents she'd found, exposing her mother's unethical behavior and painting a damning portrait of Vanessa's deceit. The courtroom fell silent as the evidence unfolded, leaving no doubt about her betrayal of both family and professional obligations. The case concluded swiftly, with Ethan granted full custody of his children and Vanessa barred from making further financial claims. Left humiliated and isolated, Vanessa's attempts to manipulate the situation backfired spectacularly, leaving her to face the consequences of her actions alone. With the legal battles behind him, Ethan turned his focus to nurturing a stable and loving environment for his children. His bond with Jennifer deepened, and they began to explore the possibility of a shared future. Cassie, inspired by her father's strength, excelled in her internship and set her sights on law school, determined to build a life guided by the values Ethan had instilled in her. Though the scars of Vanessa's betrayal lingered, Ethan and his children found resilience in their shared struggles, their bond stronger than ever. Embracing this new chapter, Ethan discovered a renewed sense of purpose. A year after the divorce, Ethan was invited to speak at a community event, sharing his story of perseverance and integrity. Standing before the audience, he reflected on how far he had come, not only professionally but also as a father and individual. His journey inspired others, a testament to the enduring power of honesty and resilience. As the sun dipped below the horizon that evening, Ethan felt at peace, knowing he was no longer defined by his past but by the strength he'd found in moving forward. Meanwhile, Vanessa remained on the fringes, grappling with the choices that had left her watching the life she once knew move on without her.